Bye-bye. Wait, I still lose. Oh my goodness, we're facing Rob. Woo! The world champ is that easy. That's gonna be my YouTube title, alright? Beating the world champion with Aggron. What's up everyone? Yesterday I had a pretty rough start of the day with an 0-5 set in the Open Ultra League using a pretty meta team with Registeel. So that felt pretty bad and I wasn't too sure how I was gonna turn it around. But then my friend and fellow Twitch streamer Marto Gault came to the rescue with an OP team using a better steel type, Aggron. At first I thought it was just a big meme, but I figured I might as well try it. I'd already gone 0-5 at that point, another loss doesn't really hurt me. But then I started winning. Not just the first game, not just the second game, but the first 5 games in a row. So I just ended up running the team for the rest of the day and I went very positive, ended up higher rating than I started the day at, which was a season high elo for me. So this team put in so much more work than I expected and it was very fun to run. I'm still not quite sure if I'd recommend the team to anyone though, as it does have some pretty big weaknesses, especially to Toxicroak and Escavalier, but they can be played around, which is what we're gonna try to do in this first battle where we face an Escavalier. Obviously that's horrible for Aggron, so I switched in my Gallade. But I'm not running close combat on Gallade, I'm running Psychic, which makes this a terrible matchup, because I cannot hit for anything but resisted damage. Luckily they switch out though into Charizard, which is exactly what we're running Psychic for, so I can hit these flying types for a lot of damage. Trust me, you want Psychic in this team, because people don't expect it and it gives Gallade some unexpected one-shots for some Pokemon. It's very satisfying, you're gonna see some later in this video. Anyway, I can't shield that, the Charizard would have farmed my Gallade down, I just have to bring in Aggron, farm down the Charizard. They're gonna bring in Escavalier now. Their switch timer is not up yet, because they threw a charge move into their Gallade before switching out. So I can bring in my Heracross, do a couple counters, I throw my Rock Blast now because I know their switch timer is gonna be up, so I'm gonna take a shield there with that Rock Blast before they can dip out. And here comes a Gyarados. Not ideal since they're resisting the counters, but a Rock Blast does do a decent chunk of damage versus it. I could consider shielding this and farming down the Gyarados, but the problem is, then the Escavalier will farm down my Heracross and probably be able to double drill run my Aggron, which, well, then I die. So I'm just gonna have to hope Aggron can farm this down, and Aggron can. GG's. Next game we have a Tentacruel lead, which is wild. I definitely haven't seen Tentacruel in this cup at all, but here is one. It's a hundo probably. Well, definitely, because you can't run XLs here. Well, maybe it's not a hundo, but it's definitely level 40. It's not an XL. I'm gonna go for the Thunder here. I wasn't sure if they shield. Go for the Thunder. At this point, a Scald, even if I debuff them with Rock Tomb, knocks me out anyway. So I just went for the Thunder, since the Rock Tomb would not have made a difference. Bring in my Gallade now. They bring in a Togekiss, which is quite bad. But again, this is where Psychic comes in super useful. Sadly, it doesn't knock him out though. But now I can safely farm down with Aggron before they get to the Flamethrower. I was kind of considering not throwing that move with Gallade as well, or at least undercharging, just so I get more farm on Aggron. But then I would have had to shield the Aggron from the Togekiss probably, because they would have likely reached the Flamethrower. Anyway, Tentacruel comes back in now. They throw a Scald, my attack drops. Now I'm not sure if the Rock Tomb knocks out at all, so I'm just gonna go for another Thunder. It's the same deal. Even if they, even if I get the Rock Tomb bait there and their attack drops, it's not really gonna make a difference, since this Scald drop would knock out anyway. So it's just a safe move to go for the Thunder there. They shielded it up. Now my Heracross just gonna have to sweep, and it does seem to be able to do that as there's a Warrain in the back. I'm just gonna go for 5 more, or actually 4 more, oh yeah, 5 more counters here. Throw on the CMP tie on the second Icicle Spear, and then I should be able to get to the Rock Blast versus the Tentacruel as well. Yes, there we go. This will knock out the Tentacruel, and that is another good game right there. Alright, what do we have in the next game? We have a Warrain lead. This is pretty decent for Aggron to bring in a Trevenant. This is quite awkward. This is definitely where I want to see the Trevenant, because both Gallade and Heracross do quite bad. So this is fine. Unfortunately, I end up getting baited though. Honestly, I probably should have called that. It's pretty obvious that we're going to go for the bait, but it just felt a bit risky. And I'm just going to go for the Rock Tomb anyway. Drop their attack. And now I should be able to tank whatever they throw. They threw a Shadow Ball basically immediately, so I'm confident I can bring in my Gallade now and farm this down before they get to the Shadow Ball. I think I've kind of countered though, because I think they could have gotten the Shadow Ball there. Not 100% sure. They might have died with it actually. I think they might have been 1 over. But yeah, that's what I thought. Anyway, we farm down. In comes Sylveon now, not great, but we have Psychic for this. Able to do a ton of damage versus Sylveon. Now I just gotta hope Aggron can deal with it though. Don't have much health, but Aggron is pretty tanky, resisting those charms. Gonna get to the Rock Tomb. This will take out the Sylveon, unless they shield it up, of course. Which they do end up doing. Fine with me. Gonna bring in Heracross. They switch out to clear their debuff. In comes Warray now, and this is amazing. Heracross is quite good here. Gonna let the first move go. I'm pretty sure the Sylveon is at a side shock now. Gonna have to save my shield for that. Actually, that's not even required. I'm actually gonna overfarm here. I could have thrown on CMP, but I'd rather just double up, because Heracross does win CMP versus Sylveon. I just get the 2 moves. I take out the Warray with his Rock Blast, and then we should be able to take out the Sylveon with the Rock Blast as well. Yeah, there it is. Go for the Rock Blast. This will knock out the Charmer. GG's. Alright, what do we have next? Gyarados lead. That's pretty good for Aggron, so my opponent switches into Snorlax, which we have a very good response to. In the Heracross, they're gonna throw a Body Slam here. Heracross is kind of squishy, so this will do quite a lot of damage, but we can easily tank 1 and then get to the Rock Blast to knock him out. But this won't knock him out actually. Rock Blast is a pretty weak move. I think they hang on, right? Yeah, they hang on. It's kind of wild, but I'm still able to farm down before they get to the next move. Luckily, it would have been quite devastating if they got to another one there, to be honest. But luckily they didn't. In comes a Muck. I go for the Rock Blast. And we have Gallade for this in the back, so this is looking like a win for me. Yeah, I bring in Gallade. At this point, it's just rock, paper, scissors. Game is over. GG's. Next up, we see a Sylveon lead, which is super solid for Aggron, especially since they're running Quick Attack. They're even staying in, which is great, but that probably also means they're weak to Aggron in the back. So I'm expecting this to be a super common Sylveon lead line, which is Sylveon, Warray, Swampert, which this team just does really well against. Aggron core breaks that hard since you're beating both Sylveon and Warray with it, and then Gallade and Heracross are quite good versus the back, but especially versus Swampert. So we're looking pretty good there, and this team just kind of shows why Aggron works, because players just don't prepare for it. A lot of teams are quite weak to rock, especially a rock steel type like Aggron. They bring in the Swampert now, like expected. I bring in my Heracross, it's kind of my soft answer to Swampert. And Gallade is like better versus Swampert when shields are down, since you can one-shot with the Leaf Blade, of course. And counters are still adding up. Honestly, Confusions would have still added up either. I'm kind of regretting not switching in Gallade, to be honest. Since if I switch in Gallade, they might actually bring in Warray, since I'm not doing super effective with the Confusions. And that's kind of the goal here, to try to lure out Warray. But it doesn't really matter. We're just going to take a shield from a Swampert here, let the Heracross go down, and I'm confident my Gallade plus Aggron should be able to deal with this Swampert still, though it's still going to be a bit iffy, since Gallade is quite squishy. A Hydro would definitely do a ton. Gonna have to shield this up, but still, I'm expecting the Warray in the back, and this definitely does more than any move the Warray can throw at me. That's a Shadow, then Earthquake might do more. But yeah, Warray comes in, gonna throw the Leaf Blade here. I still have a Rock Tomb stored on my Aggron too. So I'm gonna switch that in, throw the Rock Tomb. I'm actually kind of afraid they no-shield this and then farm me down with Swampert. But actually, if they were to do that, I'm pretty sure they can't get to 2 moves versus my Gallade to knock me out before I farm him down. So I don't think that would have been a play for them. So they shielded up. We're gonna bring this Warray very, very low. Confusion down with Gallade. Kind of afraid the Swampert will get to a move though. Still offer this Icicle Spear, but it should be 1 Confusion away. They don't reach it, so we'll be able to take out this 1 HP Swampert with a full Leaf Blade. Bye-bye. Next up, we see a Warray lead. This is a pretty decent matchup for Aggron, especially with shields up. I can just 2-shield, farm all the way through this. If they Icicle Spear bait though, it's kind of uncomfortable, but I actually know the opponent I'm playing. Once you're up at like higher elos, you start playing the same players over and over again. This particular one, I faced like 3 times, I think, in the past week. And I know they have the tendency to not bait very much. So that felt like a pretty safe shield right there. And it was, since it did throw Earthquake. I want to save my Aggron, so I switch into Gallade. In comes a Dragonite, and this is where the Psychic is gonna come in very useful, because he one-shot the Dragonite right there without them being able to use any energy. That's huge. In comes the Warren again, just to get to the Icicle Spear to knock out my Gallade, which, well, it will. End up no-shielding, which gonna end up being a very costly mistake. I'm gonna bring in my Heracross here, so I can farm now with one counter. And they end up having the biggest core breaker to my team in the back, Toxicroak. Now they're gonna throw a move here. At 7 counters. This cannot be a Sludge Bomb, but I wasn't thinking, and I just shield, expecting them to not bait. And it was just a Mud Bomb, because it couldn't have been a Sludge Bomb. I asked him later, and he also didn't know why he threw. He was panicking too. We were both panicking, and he panicked, and he threw the Mud Bomb instead of going for a Sludge. So yeah, that was kind of a mistake on both ends, but it doesn't end up working out for me, sadly, because I shoot the Mud Bomb. I try to catch another Mud Bomb here on Aggron, but he ends up farming up. Now I need to somehow outpace the Toxicroak to my move, but they get here. If there's another Mud Bomb, I will survive, but ends up being the Sludge. If I would have just no-shielded that Mud Bomb earlier, I would have won the game, but I didn't do that, so we lose. GG's. Alright, Heracross lead. I actually faced multiple of these. And I lost none, because this is a very common team. It's Heracross, Alolan Muck, Walrein, pretty sure. And this team just does very well against it, because they always bring in Alolan Muck versus Heracross, and then Gallade can sweep the Heracross and the Walrein on the opposing end. So we're looking pretty good here. Sometimes they allow you to get to the Mega Horn here. This time I couldn't get to the Mega Horn as they close combated my Heracross first. It's fine though. I brought the Alolan Muck into a range where Aggron will be able to farm it all the way down. Hopefully. If I can knock this out in 4 Smackdowns, I should be okay. If it's 5 Smackdowns, they might reach another move here, but it's 4 Smackdowns. Take them out. I know they're gonna bring in the Heracross again. I go for the Rock Tomb, thinking they'd shield, but they're actually gonna let this go, sadly. Makes sense, honestly, because with Aggron, there's probably an anti-fighter in the back, right, is what they're expecting. And there is. It's a Gallade, which just also ends up being an anti-Walrein. With 2 shields, this is not ideal, though, since, well, they are kind of powder snowing me into a range, which is dangerously low. Besides that, we'll be able to throw so many charge moves that once we've both used 2 shields, the Switch Timer is going to be up, which means they'd be able to catch a Leaf Blade on their Heracross, which I really don't want to happen. So we're gonna make sure he can't do that by waiting after this. So we're actually gonna throw a Leaf Blade here. Actually, not before they get to the Icicle Spear. This is just an Icicle Spear though, so it won't knock me out. Pretty safe. Let it go. Now I'm gonna wait. They tried waiting as well, but you saw us both wait there. He was hoping I'd throw the Leaf Blade into their Heracross, but I was super patient. I was waiting until they threw Powder Snow before throwing my Leaf Blade, but they didn't do that. They switched. I Confusion down and then Leaf Blade the Walrein, so that's a good game. Anyway, Dragonite lead. This is quite solid for Aggron. They switch in a Walrein and I bring in my Heracross, which might seem like a good switch in, but it's actually a massive mistake. One that I realized right as I switched my Heracross in, but there's nothing I can do about it anymore. What I realized is that with Dragonite lead, 99% of the time, it's Escavalier in the back, which I really need to save my Heracross for, because Escavalier can just completely sweep both Aggron and Gallade at this point. Besides that, I end up just miscounting their moves and throwing at stupid times, so I have to go 2 shields down here to knock out the Walrein, and yeah, at this point, it's just not looking very good. What I really should have done is brought in my Gallade versus the Walrein. It's less of a consistent matchup than Heracross, but if I switch quickly enough, I should still be able to take it out with my Gallade, as I will be able to outpace the moves. And yeah, as I expected, it was an Escavalier, so we just lose the game there. But yeah, then I would have knocked out the Walrein with Gallade, knocked out the Dragonite with Aggron, and then Heracross would have been on the Escavalier, which would have been quite solid. Anyway, we have another Heracross lead right here. We switch into our own. They're gonna bring in the Alolan Muck. It's basically the same game as last time. Actually, last time they close combated my my Heracross, so I couldn't get to the Mega Horn. But because they had Rock Blast this time, it didn't do much. I can get to the Mega Horn. I can even get to our Rock Blast here. This will knock out the Alolan Muck. Or take a shield, which is honestly maybe even better. Again, I'm expecting this to be Warren in the back. So, I'm gonna bring in Gallade. Expecting them to bring in Heracross again, but sadly they're bringing the Walrein. Still, this should be fine though. Gallade will be able to take out the Walrein and probably be able to take out the Heracross. It's still going to be close though. Gallade is quite squishy. They will be able to get the 3 Icicle Spears probably, which will take both my shields and then put me in a range where they can knock me out with a Rock Blast. I'm going to shield this up again. Yeah, right? Yeah, I didn't want to get countered down or anything. Shield this up, they bring in Heracross, but they have like no energy, so I should be able to just easily double Leaf Blade here. And even, I think they might be at a Rock Blast now, but like that wouldn't kill, so it doesn't really matter. Let the first Leaf Blade go. That means they're now in a range where Smackdown knocks out, so just bring in my Aggron, take him out, that's a GG. Gallade lead, this is super rough as it destroys my Aggron and my Heracross, so I'm kind of forced to stay in there. I'm doing some decent chunks with the Smackdowns though at least, and if I can call a bait here, I might even be able to burn a shield. And I do call a bait. Luckily, they didn't go for the close combat there. That's pretty huge. I can get to the Thunder here now, which they are going to end up shielding. That's pretty okay at this point. I am content with just letting my Aggron go down. We've already brought this Gallade into the yellow. Now I should be able to farm down with my own. Pretty sure I have quite a lot of energy here, though. Like, I thought they were at, like, 2 Leaf Blades here or 1 away from a Leaf Blade. So what I'm gonna do is switch into my Heracross, hope to farm down before they get to a move, and I do, which is really nice. What are they gonna bring in now? They've seen my full team. They're bringing a Swampert, which makes me believe they might have a Walrein in the back as well. Swampert is not like strong versus Heracross. They must have something that's weaker against Heracross in the back, right? So that's why I'm gonna end up shielding this move, expecting them to be weak against Heracross in the back, but they have a Golbat. And at this point, or Crobat, at this point this is looking pretty rough, as a Rock Blast really does nothing, so they won't shield, and then the Crobat is just gonna take out my Gallade. But my opponent expects me to have Leaf Blade and Close Combat on my Gallade, meaning that Rock Blast is currently the highest hitting, or the hardest hitting move, so they shield it. 2 away from a Psychic, they are 3 away from their Shadow Ball, so they wouldn't reach it. They even go for the Poison Fang here, which I think is actually kind of a weird play. But yeah, again, they would not have reached the Shadow Ball, so this makes kind of sense for them. Now I can go for the Psychic, take out the Crobat, and now all we have to do is farm down the Swampert before they get to the move. They have quite a lot of health though. We farm them down. GG's. Next up, we're battling the world champion, Dancing Rob. Look at that awesome pose and that outfit. Only 2 trainers in the world have that pose and outfit, and we're battling one right now. They lead a Lapras, switch into Surf Edge, and we just straight up hard counter him. We just straight up hard counter him. Yeah, there's nowhere for him to go. He's another fighter in the back, which my Heracross just hard counters, so he knows it's over, concedes the match. GG's, you know, that was a hard counter, but I don't care. I can say I beat the world champion with Aggron now, which is just epic. Much respect to Rob though, we had a good laugh about this match in my Twitch chat later. Next time, I probably won't have it that easy. Anyway, that was the final battle. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. See you next one. Good luck, your Bellstringers.